Good morning, guys. We're going to get Pepper in here. So I am trying to get Pepper on board here. And see if I can get him in here. We're running a little behind this morning trying to get everything organized. So I'm just kind of squaring stuff away here. And there we go. Pepper has the link. And Pepper is joining me in the other room. Pepper is here. There's Pepper. I can't
Hey,
because I don't have my headphones. Hang on.
I will be.
Taking my headphones.
Yeah, I will be
Hang on.
Wilson.
I like that. That works.
Yeah, I mean, we can do the whole entire show just like this. Everyone agree?
You are totally Wilson. That's what I'm just going to call you. I'm going to call you Wilson for the duration of this show.
Does everyone agree that I need to do this? Like, just from here up, maybe some hand gestures.
There we go.
No.
And the question is,
Okay.
there we go. Now
Yeah.
we have audio. We didn't have
Yeah.
audio before. Now we've got audio.
Okay.
So you were Wilson a minute ago. I was just like going to let you just stay back there. You could do the whole show from back there. It'd be great.
I would, but there's like stuff behind this.
And it would fall over and kill you and then kill me. And then
Well, no,
it'd be death.
there's some spare monitors and stuff behind this. I live with someone who works in IT.
Yep. But I mean, the truth of the matter, though, is that monitors today are better than they used to be. When I was in my 20s, the spare monitors that we had, we could only have like 4, and the room was full. You know.
Yeah, they didn't really improve until like about 10 years ago.
Yeah, which conveniently, we actually had. I'm going to turn that light on because that works a whole lot better. Conveniently, we had quite an interesting like variation of things that happened with me because we went to Japan before that all changed, and we came back after that all changed. So I had given away all of our monitors and TV sets, and then when we came back, we didn't have to dispose of all of them like everybody else did.
Yeah.
Everybody else was like, "Oh, we have to dispose of all of our monitors," and I'm like, "It's all good. We don't." So
Yeah. Well, also at the same time, technology in Japan advances a lot faster than in America.
Yep. Yep. So I'm going to remind everybody real quickly that we are going on a trip tomorrow up into the mountains, and I'm actually going to put my computer in the shop. So it's going into the shop tomorrow, so there will be no morning show for me tomorrow. That's why actually I have Pepper on today. It's because that's what we're doing today. So we'll see what happens here. So far, I've got 0 people on my show this morning. I think I scared them all away by not having my board set properly this morning. So
That's fine.
we could just chat with each other.
Okay.
Actually, yesterday I was talking to Christina, and she just called to ask a quick question about NDK, but then I ended up talking to her for like an hour because I miss people. And I'm just like, another human. It's another human.
Do you realize that I calculated the last show was 2 hours long?
Yep.
I was like, that's the longest me and Guy have done a show. Normally, he's like, let's make this quick. Let's wrap this up. Let's do this, you know?
But I'm sitting there going, but it's another human.
I know. It's, so, yeah.
So, Raph actually wants to chat with me tonight because we're doing it. We miss each other. We miss everybody.
You just want to
I
chat
love my
over
family a whole lot, but it's like we've been in the same house for a very long time.
I mean, like, I just got sick of things a little bit yesterday, and I was like, it's not raining out. I'm taking all my watercolors that are still drying,
Right?
and I'm putting them outside. Just need to get them outside. The stickiest ones, like, basically are no longer sticky, but this morning when I touched them, like, they stuck to my finger. And I'm like, where is the moisture coming from my house? And then I remember, I'm on the bottom floor and I'm underground. So the moisture can come from pretty much anywhere.
Right. It's the
So-
moistest part of the entire building.
And for those who don't like the word moist,
Moist.
moist is the descriptive word of the day.
We moistly did our work last week, and we're going to today.
Yes, moist work is very, very wet.
Yes, it is. So you'd say that it would be wet work then, huh?
No, I wouldn't go that far. Have you seen Horrible Bosses?
No. Wet work for me usually conjures up cyberpunk images.
Wet work, it is that, it's
That'd be my phone ringing.
Oh, well, thank you for reminding me that I need to put mine on silent.
Yep, that's what I'm doing right now.
No,
But it's
Horrible
election
Bosses-
season, so I'm getting a whole bunch of calls of, would you give your opinion on...
I put a call
candidate-"
blocker app on my phone.
I like to do the surveys.
Oh, I don't.
Because the surveys influence a lot more than voting, in my opinion.
I'm profiled.
Yeah, I can see you being a, but my demographic, if I can skew the demographic, if I can skew it, I will.
Yeah.
Because it's like my demographic is definitely the one that's in power at the moment. So if I can make them,
Well,
if I
yeah.
can skew it.
Yeah, so here's the deal. The last political survey that I did, it was about two opponents. One was male, one was female. And guess which one they thought that I was going to say?
Right. Exactly.
And then they asked me the question of my party affiliation, and I went and I told them, and they were like, "Oh." And I
Yeah.
was like,
That's like I said, I like to get in there and skew it.
Yeah.
But as soon as they find out that because you're not actually in the straight white male demographic.
correct.
So they can only judge you by skin color until they find out your sexual orientation, at which time you change your demographic.
Yes, that is correct. And I've even had surveys given to me that ask me, do I think that reservation land should be taken away from Native Americans? So there you go. That's why I try to avoid them at
Hot
all
button
costs
topic for
now.
me.
Oh, I know. Trust me. I was like, this conversation is done.
Yeah.
I do not support that, and I do not want this any more line of questioning. Sorry.
Yeah.
Bye. And I was like, I don't know who's paying for this information, but God, whoa. It went down.
Yeah, well, the good news is if you had said no there, they probably had a very small sampling size. And so you would have represented 15, 20,000 people saying no. So that's what I do whenever I do those surveys is I think about it that way. They're not going to call every American in the United States. So they're just going to take me and represent.
I think they got my information when I signed a petition to give land back to Native Americans. And that's on how I think they got my information. And, I'm just like, whoa, like that's kind of an inappropriate thing for me to be even asked.
Yeah.
You shouldn't even be asking those questions. No one should be approving that.
It's a true thing.
So, but at the same time, this is an art check. And
we are not doing art while we're art chatting.
We're not art chatting because today we wanted to keep it lively and we just wanted to talk, I guess. Yes? No?
Well, people are here.
Yeah.
I've got Fred and I've got Brent,
Oh, hi,
which
Brent.
is interesting
Hi,
because I
Brent.
still have 0 viewers down there at the indicator and then at the bottom of the page.
Okay.
So Fred, Brent, I'm sorry, you guys just apparently do not exist.
They are figments of imagination in the ether.
Fred says he always tells them that their answers will not cover his non-two-party point of view. Brent is on Twitch. Yeah, I don't know if the viewer will be there. The viewership shows on for Twitch. You may be right, but Fred's most definitely coming in from Facebook. So I don't know what's going down there, but it is kind of makes me hopeful because usually I have about 5 viewers or 6 viewers, and so if I've got 2 viewers and the number reads 0, then when I have 5 or 6 viewers, and when it reads 5 or 6 viewers, logic says that we probably have 8 or 9, which is good.
Cool.
So
I still need to set up a Twitch. I had a Picaro, which Picaro doesn't have any networking with other streaming services, so
although I can restream to it.
Yeah, Restream I think got it, but that's about I think that's the only Restream's the only one that has it that you can restream from it, so you can stream from all platforms at the same time.
I don't know. I mean, Picardo. I'm hoping Picardo catches on. It's a good serve platform for artists, but it's just artists
for artists.
Hmm?
It's made for artists.
I know, but it's only got artists on it.
Yeah.
So broadcasting to it doesn't help us a whole lot. Brent, real quickly, while I still have you here, I'm going to put the computer in the shop. Don't talk. And so tomorrow there will be no broadcast because we'll be upgrading this little machine over here so that it's got a hard drive that's dying, so that's got to be pulled. It's like a bad tooth. So there is that. So I'll be back Monday with a newer and better computer. I kind of hope that they'll take a look at my power supply, because I think it's the power supply. I think I now have enough widgets and gadgets plugged into it that's what's causing the flakiness with my monitor. This monitor will suddenly cut out. Not turn off, but like the pin will stop working in the middle of like drawing. And it's not the monitor. The monitor is testing okay. But what I think is happening is there's a high watermark somewhere along the line where I have too many USB things pulling power from my power supply, and my power supply finally just starts cutting power to things. And I think my monitor is on that list of things cut power to. So
I almost want to say, like, you might want to, when you're working on the tablet monitor, turning off another monitor.
Yeah, except that's usually the only time it's happened is during shows when I need all 3 of these monitors running, because I'm drawing on that one. I've got the chat here and I've got Restream here so that I can see everything. So there is kind of that.
Yeah, that does present an issue.
It does present an issue. At the moment, I still have control, so it's all good.
You have the power?
I have the power. So my wife and I went on a little drive yesterday because, I need a streaming computer. Well, that's the other thing. Brent's saying that I need a streaming computer built, and actually that's what I'm going to do. Is I think I'm going to go on ahead and get a computer that is set up for streaming. I'm going to swap out video cards and get a more powerful video card. The video card is sufficient, but I want a video card that can hold 3 monitors instead of having to jury rig back there.
Okay. I can tell you right now, I live with someone who researches this right now because he's trying to build his own computer.
Yeah.
Do you need any advisement of what the best one would be for streaming and stuff? He may be able to help you out with giving you a few options.
Yeah, I might talk to him. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Trust me, like, he watches so many tech videos at night. So, like, I just, like, I'll go into the bedroom and I'm just like, okay, I can fall asleep to this. Got it. Because it goes whoop right over my head. Unless
It's my wife watches British comedies, so there's that.
what's wrong with British comedy?
Nothing, unless you're trying to sleep.
Well, I mean, true. Very
So
true.
it's all good.
I just
Yeah,
watched
actually, I'm getting a lot of data in from Brent as well, because he actually does that. That's his career as well. So, Brent, I've got to be able to play City Skylines, Black Desert Online, Star Trek Online, and we've got to run 3 monitors. I've got a 1080 Ti right now, which runs just fine. It actually is doing okay. But I'd also like to cut down on my render times coming out of Daz Studio. So, what do you recommend on that? And I'll put that forth to Bill as well.
That's one that you can get.
They're in the 2080 now.
Bill is saying that a 2080 video card would probably be better.
2080. Yeah, I'm trying not to break the bank while I'm at it too. So, I mean, but the video card seems to be like the computer's an i5 and it used to be a white box server, so
Gotcha.
it's not actually a bad the core. It's a quad core i5, so it's not like it's horrible. It does a good job. I actually, like I said, I think it's the power supply. I'm really thinking of swapping out my existing C drive for an SSD and moving my current C drive over to BD, because there's 4 drives in there right now. One of them is a dying, ancient, old drive that used to be my C drive, but I think it's finally dying, and that's part of what's going on here. Every time I start my computer up, the computer is scanning that drive. That was only left in there because it was dying, and so we added another drive on top of it, and then I left it in there to copy everything off of it. Well, I copied everything off of it like 3 years ago.
So there's nothing on it now.
There's nothing on it. It's been just sitting there.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
are you talking, Brent? Okay, so it's AMD you're talking about.
Yeah, AMD.
No. NVIDIA.
Oh.
Video card.
Bill's
Yeah.
Bill's saying for CPU, he is saying NVIDIA.
No.
I think so too.
Hold on, Bill. Like, tell me what it is, or come over into the picture.
The 2080 is the successor to the 1080. It's the newer version of that. So it would be NVIDIA. You don't have to go with NVIDIA. You can go with AMD. But currently, competitively speaking, NVIDIA has the upper hand at the moment. For CPU, AMD has the upper hand by a wide margin.
Right.
And especially with video streaming, I/O is extremely important. And AMD also has that by a wide margin. So if you're going for a new CPU as well, AMD I would suggest, especially because you can get like 16 cores now, 32 threads, and have all the I/O you could ever want.
You understand that?
I got it.
Okay. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Brent. Both of you guys are both pretty much on the same wavelength between the two of you, which, hey, that's unique. When I was, the AMD GPU drivers suck, is what Brent's saying. So, yeah, actually, I think what we're all thinking is we're going to go for a GeForce. The 2080 Ti or 2080 would be the successor to the 1080.
Yeah.
And then my kid can get my 1080 over there on his computer, and he'll actually be able to play No Man's Sky, which he can't do very well right now. But I'll look into that and then see if I can't do that. So
Yeah, we had to upgrade Bill's video card so he could just do what's that streaming platform for video games. Steam.
That's not streaming.
Well, whatever.
So you're playing games.
Just know I don't really get into too involvement of technology, so whatever comes to my mouth, my husband will correct.
I had a GeForce 470. It was incredibly old and wasn't playing anything anymore, so that's why believe me, I stretched the life out of that.
Yeah. Well, and I am pawning my my card off to my kid. That 1080 is going to go off to my kid, but it's, you know, he's a gamer, so there's that. It's like, as gamers go.
Well, if parents are gamers, kids are gamers.
Although he is much more of a gamer than me. So, I mean, I consider the fact that I play. Yeah, Brent, I'll send you a budget on this, and we can do that. So, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
If you let me know a budget, I can get you some specs.
Cool. That's awesome.
I think he's going to go with Brett because Brent actually offered first bill. Jeez.
Well, I'm giving specs. I'm not building it.
Brent wishes to say that he's a gamer, but his daughter is not a gamer. So the rule does not apply to everybody, which I guess is true. Humans getting their dice rolled all the time. So, and truthfully, like I said, my kid's much more of a gamer than I ever was.
I mean, I've been around parents where both parents were gamers, and the kids all played D&D. They played video games. You know, they did all of that, and the kids got more involved in the games than the parents.
Yeah.
But then as the kids got older, they get more like situated like the parents. Like they game the same amount as the parents, so it kind of evens out at a certain point for them.
If you really want, you could keep the 1080 and run your left and right monitor off that, and then have your 2080 be your middle monitor. And then if you're just playing games on the middle monitor, then the full force of that one GPU is dedicated to your game, and then your other GPU just runs the side monitors for whatever you want.
They also said that they can bounce the information off of you just to verify what he says. So,
yeah, I could, but it just needs. I really just need the high GPU. Really, what I need is I need to kick all my rendering from DAZ Studio out to the GPU, and that's really
that makes more sense.
Everything, the system works fine. I think the problem with the system as it is right now is that I have too many USB items for my power supply, and I think that's really what's going on here. And I think we're getting power dips. I mean, everything, including things like this. My pen for this recharges off of the USB ports of the computer. This is just the power.
But when you're using it, you don't have it attached, right?
Well, I've got two pins. So one's charging and the other one's drawing.
Okay.
And that actually was really cool because I could swap them. But I started to realize last night or yesterday, I started to realize how many, like this light is plugged into the computer. It's not powering. There's no data going to the light. There's no data going to the pen. There's no data going to my speakers. My speakers are actually physically plugged in here in the front of my computer. You can see it right here. Right? So there's no data going to these three items. That's three items that are pulling down from the power supply that don't need to be pulling in from the power supply. So over on the other thing, or over on the shelf over here, I actually have a 4-port USB power cable. You just plug it into the wall and it powers up 4 ports. I think what I'm going to do is move one of those over here and pull these 3 items off of the computer and put it into the port. Because, I mean, what I'm noticing is when I plug in a card, that's usually when things start to go wonky here. And I think it's because the power is going to one more thing. I think my computer is done with one more thing. So.
Well, I mean, If the computer wants to be temperamental, guy, I mean, you have to let it be temperamental.
There is that, but yeah, we do broadcasts every day with art, so it's difficult to just say okay.
No.
So
Regardless to say, if we do an art check now, I know for sure I'm not ready for it because it's supposed to be tomorrow.
yep, well, it's all good. I'm not either really, but I want to go on ahead and at least touch base with you today so that we can get kind of organized and start talking about what we're doing. So, if nothing else, what I was saying was my wife and I went on a drive yesterday and we talked about getting organized and how we're going to do that. And one of the things that I've got to do is start getting better about my social media. I'm really bad about checking in with patrons. I'm really bad with Twitter. I'm really bad with Instagram. And we live or die by Instagram. So I feel like, let me go ahead and turn you on. There we go. That light, I keep looking at the ring light and not at the camera. And so it's because the ring light's been moved up and now it's brighter than the camera. But the camera has its own little ring light. And so I'll use that camera's ring light to target in. So I'm looking at you people, not looking like this, going, I'm talking all the time, and this is where I'm looking. So anyway, we talked about kind of getting more organized and doing things a little bit more of a media blitz. And so that's kind of what I'm after here is kind of thinking through what I want to do on just because posting to Twitter only takes, obviously doesn't take a lot of time because our president does it like 62,000 times a day. So clearly Twitter is not a big deal. But if I want to be out there, if I want people to see me and hear me and know what's going on, I need to do it more often. So we talked about what is it that I'm going to post on Twitter. And, because I don't want to get into politics. I don't want to get into the
So my Twitter posts, these have just been my Twitter posts as of lately. I will post to my Instagram, and I have my Twitter account linked, and my Instagram posts then get tweeted.
Okay.
And that way, I'm not using it as a political platform.
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't show the image.
Good morning,
It
Donald.
shows a link to Instagram. So if anyone wants to actually see what the full message is, or if they want to see the image, they click on the link and they go to my Instagram page.
I learned the secret to Instagram on how to post from your computer.
Yes. The other thing is hashtags. Hashtags on Instagram, when you repost, you do the tweet, those same hashtags are now attached to your tweet. So anyone on Twitter who's using the same hashtags or looking at those hashtags are now going to find yours, and then they'll link back to your Instagram.
So do you use, when you do hashtags, don't they get truncated? Because I know that we can use up to 30 on Insta, but we can't use up to 30.
Instagram, you can use up to 30, yes. However, you have to kind of gauge which hashtags that you use. Like for me, when I do a watercolor post, if my image has watercolor in it, I don't get flagged. If I say that I'm using watercolor paper and I have a watercolor hashtag, I don't get flagged or anything like that. The main thing is like when you use hashtags, like there's hashtag checkers too. If you like just look them up Google style. So long as you're not using inappropriate hashtags, you're usually not dinged. And for artwork, there's a little bit more leniency. It depends on if you're using a hashtag for, say like, okay, Mirka Adolfo. She is the comic book artist. She does Unsacred.
Uh-huh.
And so she was using a hashtag like sweet paprika or something like that. And someone found it offensive that she was using the hashtag because she was describing her character who's named Paprika. Well, Paprika is a demon, and she draws her in nude a lot. And so someone had offensive, and she had enough complaint, and there was enough complaints, and so now that particular one that she was using to describe her character has now been banned.
Okay.
So
I had wondered, because a couple of my hashtags cross over. Like when I was doing Witches of Flame, I would post Apollo, Gemini, Mercury, moon landing, things like that in hashtags. But really, Witches of Flame wasn't about moon landings; it was about Mars landings. So it was kind of like I didn't know if that was going to ever get me in trouble or not. I don't know. So it's kind of a little different. I wasn't sure. So, but it never did. I mean, I don't think anybody actually checks my Instagram because I think I've got like 20 people who follow me on Instagram. Most of them are you and Raph and, my buddies. So it's like,
well, like what I will say is Instagram, the minefield is part of it is the imagery. So if you say you're a person who likes doing risque or basically pinup art, if you've done it digitally, you run into a problem. Like if someone finds it offensive, they can report it and say it's not against bylaws, and they can Instagram will take it down. Now the reason for that being is their rule is if it's digital and it's nude, then it's unacceptable. But if you've done a nude image traditionally and take a picture of it to show that it's a hand-drawn image, that's acceptable. It is the most confusing world.
Donald says sweet paprika is also a spice. There are over 40 different paprikas that he knows of. Crazy people offended by anything shake his head.
Yeah, pretty much. If anyone looks at Mirka Adolfo, trust me, she's done Unsacred. She's in the middle of Unsacred. She has a vampire series as well that's based off of Italian vampirism because she is an Italian comic book artist.
And usually that's the other thing is like Europeans are typically a lot less strict about nudity. And I always feel bad because like Japan used to be a lot less strict about nudity until they got involved with us. And now they're just as prudish as we are. And now Europe is being forced to be prudish as well. And it's irritating.
Well, no, what's irritating to me is some of the images. It's like she's in a wet t-shirt. That's not real nudity to me.
Right.
I have actually pulled up someone's Instagram account, and I was shocked that it was public. Now, that's saying something for me because you can push my limits very far.
Mm-hmm.
But, you have it open for the public. Okay. Who are you advertising to? Oh, okay. So you're saying 18 and plus, and you're open to the public. And then 2 months later, they're now a private account. So it's, I hated what they did to Tumblr.
Yeah.
Because once they did that to Tumblr, everyone switched over. Now, what people were going for Tumblr, people are going for Twitter. Because Twitter
doesn't censor.
Doesn't censor like that. Because they've had some issues with censorship in America. So they just basically stay clear from it for right now. But I've been asked about Vero. I've been asked about a couple of different multimedia. Essentially what it is I'm waiting for the day where someone just basically has a thing where it's connected to all different media types, kind of like Restream, where you make one post and it just posts to every single media that you link to. Then that way, you don't have to worry about things.
Right. Well, they've got a couple of multi-poster type things.
But not all media streams. From the last time I checked, which was about...
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, I've got a poster on my website which does this. So if I post to my website, like the blog on my website, I can have it repost out.
Yeah. When our website's up and open, yes, that we do the same thing.
Yeah, so bold grid sounds. That sounds like that's the same thing for WordPress. It's a WordPress add-on. But yeah, I mean that's what I've got on my. I've got an add-on on my my website. So if I post a page of comic, it posts it out to Facebook, it posts it out to Twitter, it posts it out to Instagram, and it does all of that stuff. But you know, so as soon as I post a new page of comic, which I haven't done in a long time, it auto posts everywhere. The best part about that one is it'll hold them. So you can load 20 pages in, and it'll just fire one on Monday, and then one on Wednesday, and one on Friday until you run out of pages.
Yeah, we use WordPress, so WordPress naturally has that built in.
Yeah.
And then you get the plugin, and then it posts automatically.
So, but I agree with you, though. A single website like Restream that posts out to everything would be really, really useful.
Even if it's just like an app for your device, like just make it simpler for people. Most people have to do Instagram through their cell phones, so or iPads have it now. I don't know who's calling me, so
it's not me.
Well, no. But anyhow, this is actually kind of a question that's been coming up in the forums and the
Hootsuite
Discord servers that I'm
specifically.
What?
Hootsuite is the one that does it specifically. The problem I have with Hootsuite, because we have that for NDK, is that it keeps doing the, here's my post, posted by Hootsuite at the bottom of everything.
Yeah.
Well, then
what I'm thinking is like have something like Hootsuite, but like Hootsuite is like basically the name of the company is taken off.
Right. Because I mean that's my problem is as soon as people find out you're using an auto poster, they unfollow your streams. So that's part of my problem is that and Brent is saying that BoldGrid he's involved with that to some degree. So that's actually a good thing because I'm not 100% happy with my auto poster. So I can talk to you offline on that one too, Brent.
Well, I'm actually probably going to be looking into that because we have almost rebuilt all of our servers.
Yeah.
Once we do that, we have to get the web store back up and running. We haven't had a single sale from comics since last year.
Yeah. Well, and I've got a problem too on my side that it still won't email me when someone fills out the commissions page. I don't know where it's sending the email. I don't know how it's sending the email. I don't know what's going on. But I'm not willing to pay them $2 a month for the rest of my life to get that fixed. So we have an issue there with that.
I'm just happy that all of the stuff that we use as far as plugins go, there was like pay once and then you get free updates.
Yeah,
And so far, we've been pretty good at getting that.
a real sustainable model for everybody, but also I am running. Yeah, are you running a physical server or a virtual server? Is what Brent says.
We have physical servers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured you've got an IT guy, so you probably have physicals.
Yeah, we host our two three,
Brent has a
four
solution.
websites or three websites.
3 resume websites, 4, 2 resume, 1 art, and then
Yes,
Yeah. So
Brent,
yeah.
just like you. Brent's running physicals as well.
yeah. Now, mind you, our original servers were laptops, and I believe we are switching to CPUs, desktops,
Desktops.
because
it's
yeah,
actually going to be a mix.
it's going to be a mix now, according to Bill.
It's gonna be-
Eventually, we're going to get the money so that we have his designated server rack and actual servers.
It's going to be a Kubernetes cluster.
A Kubernetes cluster. That's what he's aiming for. If Brett
Right.
knows what that is.
So I'm looking at Hootsuite, trying to decide whether this is a reasonable thing.
If you pay, can you get that taken off?
I don't know. I'll have to see. So Brent says, I have a server rack if you need one at 25U.
Bill, did you hear that? Can you repeat?
Says that Brent has a server rack if he needs one for at 25U. I assume 25U is 25 units. I don't know.
I'll absolutely take it after we find a new place.
Yeah, when we get into a new place, we'll probably take you up on it, Brett.
So there we go.
Yeah, like we live in a basement, so there's no room.
Yeah, he's trying to pare down to a 12 unit as he doesn't need one that big. So he's going to be probably offloading that 25 somewhere along the line. So I'll just make sure you two are in contact.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'll let you know closer we get to that point. So you
that
guys
works.
will probably know when we get closer to that point. So it'll be before the end of the year.
Right. So that works. And I don't know. Maybe Hootsuite's something I need to do because I need a single point of contact for a lot of things, and so
I think what it is the problem that I have with social media is there's so many of them
yeah,
that it's so overwhelming.
that's what I'm having, and I'm getting very irritated that there's a. Fred says living in a basement gives you geek cred, so I think that's probably true. There's the problem that I'm having is that we keep polarizing and politicizing and everything like that. And so as someone who needs to broadcast to the most number of people in order to succeed, it irritates me when they do we're going to get off of Facebook and go to Snurgleblatt. And we're going to get off of Snurgleblatt and go to Boogie Wop. And we're going to get off of Boogie Wop and go to Beady Boop. And it's all like, so, okay. I've got to broadcast Facebook, Snurgleblatt, Boogie Wop, Boobadoo, Beebabab, and it's like, it just gets to the point where it's like, I just can't broadcast to all of these things. And so you have to decide, okay, of the 8 billion people on this planet, I'm going to be able to find, say, 100,000 who are really interested in what I'm doing, and then maybe 5,000 who are willing to pay $1 a month on my Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
If I can do that, we've got a living set.
Yeah.
Not if these social medias keep breaking up into smaller and smaller bits, then I finally can only broadcast to 5,000 people, at which time you're going to get 100 people who like you. Of that, you're going to get a fraction of one that's going to pay $1 a month. And so, that's the biggest problem I'm having as an artist. we were actually talking about, this is what Mariah and I were talking about yesterday, was I don't need to fix my art. I've been sitting here trying to get my art better and try to evolve my art and get better at it. And she's like, you don't need to do that. Your art's fine. You're just only appealing to a small section of society. So if you can just hit all the people who you appeal to, you're fine.
Yeah.
The problem is that's 5 people so far. So,
And you know what? My Patreon, I only have 2 patrons. Like 2. And I just had to do an update because as of July 1st, you know, have that weird sales tax thing that you have to take care of on Patreon, which a lot of people is now deterring away. So you have to add now to which tier it is a donation tier.
right. I've got all my tiers as donation tiers right now.
Yeah.
That actually is a plus for me because I have always viewed Patreon as a tip jar. I mean, it's a tip jar. For me, I know a lot of people use Patreon to give extra things to their patrons and, you know, stuff like that. The truth is, it's a tip jar for me. And it allows me to post the nude pictures that I don't usually post out there. Like I always, for every character I'll do a complete stripped down character so that I can see body scars, tattoos, anything like that that's on there that I want to make sure stay consistent through the story. I had one character once that had a scar on her shoulder blade because she was part of, when she was a child, she was part of this revolution, and it hurt her, and it scarred her on her back. And since then, I was like, and what happened was she kept referring to it in the story, and then somewhere along the line, she pulled down her shirt just a little bit to show it in one particular story, and then like 5 years later, she did it again, and I realized I moved it, and I made it look different. And I didn't catch on to that until later. So then I'm like, that's it. From now on, I'm doing a full body shot of each character. Well, I can't post those out there.
Well, you can, so long as, like, if you appeal to American censorship.
Donald. I appreciate that. Donald says that most people haven't seen you and don't understand how good your show is. I appreciate that. And he says, I have a Bob Ross effect, as I'm informative and fun. I appreciate that.
You are.
Appreciate that. So, well, thank you. But yeah, I mean, things like that, I can put that to Patreon, and that's a good thing, but I don't want to make that the requirement. I'm not going to sit here and draw naked pictures all the time so I can have something to post to Patreon.
Trust me, if I post some of the stuff that I'm requested to draw for people for money.
I know. I've been down that road too.
Yeah.
And if you're a kind of person who nudity doesn't bother you, it's not a problem. And like me, where I find that our puritanical view on the universe is really ridiculous, then that's a viable option. And it's something that, you know, I guess if I ever got a commission where they asked for naked people, I'd do that. That wouldn't be a problem.
I mean, I did a series of Ghoul Gals, I guess, so to speak. Basically, it was a series of sketch cards that I did for someone, and each sketch card went into the other one, so I taped them all together. But, like, they were all in, like, basically what you would find in, like, in a theatrical, like, cabaret motif. But what's the other one where they take the clothes off, but they don't actually show anything?
Oh,
Burlesque.
Burlesque starts with a B. Yeah.
Yeah, burlesque. So basically, like, instead of, like, not showing everything was shown because they're Ghoul Gals.
Right.
And so the only naked one that I had was the skeleton female.
I like this. This is good. This is going well.
You know?
I wish for you to draw a naked woman. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, skeleton. But you know what, though? I posted it, and one of my sisters was like, I was actually really shocked that you posted that on Facebook. And I'm like, well, I posted it on Instagram.
Luna.
Hmm?
Luna joined us. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm responding to people who are over here. Naked
Um,
aliens. Yes, Donald's
Yeah.
saying naked aliens. Donald, I will draw you a naked alien, I promise.
is he talking gray?
Now, he said you never know what the appendage organs or appearance really mean. So I think he means aliens.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere along the line, we'll work on some of the other aliens that were.
Let's just put it this way. I have.
Nina says so naked she doesn't even have skin.
I love the skeleton. I will be realistic. It
Yep.
was fun to do. Like, if you're asked to draw a bunch of movie, or just basically, like, you have an angel, you have a vampire, you have a ghost, you have, this or that. I'm sorry. Movie monsters or just monsters in general are always fun to play with. And then you have to sit there and draw them naked. It's even like more interesting because then you're trying to figure out, okay, how does this move
Right.
with no clothes? Like vampires, it's something that's more human. You can actually understand what's going on.
Yeah.
But for like, say it's a Frankenstein girl or a Frankenstein guy, like in Hotel Transylvania, like 3, when they're trying to like hit him up with something, you have the huge ass arm on one of the characters. So
Fred saying a naked Jim from his Afterworlds books. His Jims are like earthworms. Earthworm Jim is sort of the joke. So it's actually kind of funny because the drawing that I've got of that particular character, I've got him in coveralls, which makes it even more ridiculous. And I think that's funnier, personally, because I think that, they're earthworms, so it's not like, but putting him in coveralls is just hysterical in my book.
But the moment that you said put him in coveralls, I'm reminded of the busy world of Richard Scarry.
Yes. Richard Scarry was the best.
I mean, like, I remember the TV show, but I remember the books. The books were, like, ingrained in me like Dr. Seuss was.
Right.
And my sister even had the Bath book. Like, she got the privilege of getting the new book of... Basically, it was a series of books, Richard Scarry. You take them into the bath as toys, and you read them in the bathtub. Wow.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Like, my family's very involved in book learning.
Right.
So...
You can tell because you and I we're both from the same things. Yes, animals and clothes are funny. Not everyone keeps their genitals in the same place. So yes, we're quoting from Star Trek there, of course, because a lot of the people who are on my threads will always be Trekkies. So there's always a Trekkie joke.
Yeah,
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
We are who we are.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, there have been a few commissions for furries that I've done.
Yeah, I've thought about a lot of that stuff. I don't think I would have a major problem if I was requested. I think I would have a problem if they requested a character of mine that way. If it was out of character, I think that would be a problem.
Well, see, I follow an artist,
Yeah.
and so he has two characters. It's a couple, two guys and a coupling. And he'll draw one as a teddy bear, like a black bear, and then the other one is like a big giant wolf dog.
Gotcha.
I mean, for you, I would draw you as a white cat, but I mean, that's just because of Kitty.
Yeah. This is Dove. She's decided recently she's a lap cat. I don't know why she's decided this now. But I think it's because she's becoming an older cat now. And I think she's trying to get into heaven. And I think that's really what it's boiling down to.
How old is she?
We just recently found out that she was 5 when we got her. And we got her in 2013. So she's a little older than we thought she was. Yeah, she's 12 now.
Okay. Yeah. Nacho. When I first met Nacho, he was already like around that age. So.
Right.
But he would come in and start like laying on Bill's bed, and I would just be like, "Okay, you want pets? Okay." So,
Yeah, she's demanding pets nowadays.
yeah, it could be that she has like something going on body wise that's starting to hurt.
A little bit. She's suffered from PTSD. He just recently found her paperwork and didn't know at the time that when she was brought into the shelter, she was almost feral.
Oh wow!
So she's always been a weird cat. She's always been strange, afraid of everybody, anybody who walks in the door. But I think after all these years, she's starting to forget her first 5 years. But when they got her, she was pregnant.
Oh,
They got her in, and she had kittens right away, and they rehomed all the kittens, and then they left her there, and then we came in to get a cat. This is the Cat Care Society, which is a no-kill shelter. But I'd gotten my cat Luna. I got her from Cat Care Society way back in like '94 or '95.
mm-hmm.
So I knew of them and I liked them because they're a no-kill. And so we went there again, and they had Dove, and she was just sitting over there being, quiet and not saying anything. We thought, well, that's perfect for our kid, because our kid at the time was 3.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, we need to have a cat that fits. So we got Dove, but then it turned out that, and they actually, I realize now, we said we'd like Dove, and they all looked at us like, are you sure? Okay. And then we filled out the paperwork. We fetched Dove, and we brought her home, and then she was afraid of everybody. She sat under the bed for like 2 weeks. She was under the bed.
I think what it is what a lot of people don't realize is when there's traumatic experiences by cats, it takes them unlike dogs and other types of animals, cats take a lot longer
I think so too.
to trust human beings again.
Yeah. Well, and she's never fit well with the other cats. We had Ivy for a while, and Ivy was a kitten and just loved to chase her because she would run. And so it was a game.
Yeah.
And then we had Thomas for a while, and Thomas was the only one who stayed. Thomas is my best friend's cat, and they were living here for a while. Thomas is the only one who she seemed to like, but Thomas is so laid back that his head touches his butt. So he just kind of lies around the house in little puddles of cat. And he never chased her. He never thought she was fun to play with. He just curled up next to her on the bed, and she put up with that.
Yeah.
But then we had Roman, who actually was here for that. Roman chased her too. So we're going to be looking at getting another kitten, but we're leery. We're going to try to get a young kitten, and then we're going to do the put the food on either side of the door thing. Keep the kitten in the bathroom for a week, and put
Flower to smell.
food on one side of the door and put Dove's food on the other side of the door, so that they smell each other without seeing each other.
Well, I think what it is with cat psychology, it's super interesting because it's more obtuse than a dog.
Hmm.
With dogs, if they don't like one another.
Music going on over here on the
What's going on?
Cats the musical. They're quoting Cats the musical over here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the movie or the actual musical? Because the movie, no.
I haven't actually seen the movie because, you see, here's the thing. I actually kind of like Cats the musical a little bit. But we're a musical household. My wife's actually got a degree in theater. And I grew up with theater. So we're a musical household in this household. So we've, whenever we're cleaning or whatever, we'll just crank up Hamilton or Les Mis or, anything like that. And so Cats does get played in this house from time to time because it's not bad. Phantom's good and Cats is good. And, it's not a horrible thing, but boy, that movie looks terrifying. I think they moved really quickly into the uncanny valley and then just stayed there the entire time. So, oof. Anyway, we've gone way off of target here. So Luna's here. Did you do the other leg, Luna? That's my question. Donald wanted to make a lot of money, get something cool done, and maybe win the lotto. How'd that
Did
go?
you win the lotto?
Yeah, because if you won the lotto, tell me, because we'll be best friends then.
If you won the lotto, I just ask for you to do the $1 tier on my Patreon. That's
Right.
it.
That's all we want here on the Patreon. Brent wanted to sleep and more sleep. So those are the
hope
those
that was
things that I've got out there. Luna says the movie wasn't that bad, but it wasn't good either. Hamilton comes up tomorrow on Disney Plus.
Yep.
That should be good. So I think that our family, because we are Hamilton fans, our family is probably going to sit down, since we've got Disney Plus too, and watch that. Although we've listened to Hamilton a number of times. So I'm kind of doing how did they get that past Disney? Disney, which won't allow bad words or violence or nudity. I mean, let's be realistic here. In Hamilton, we know what happens to Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Yeah.
And you can't, cut that out.
Yeah. I know.
Casey's here, too. Hi, Casey.
Hello.
So we got Casey on here, too. And I'm still showing 0 people watching. So I guess that's about as useful as nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you and I are nowhere near our destination.
We're not on our normal day. And
Well, even if we were on a normal day, I wouldn't have achieved anything. So I'm not going to even hide behind that and say, oh no, if we had done this tomorrow.
I'm about halfway there, but I have to actually work on something that makes me get money.
Yeah, I was going to say money came first. That's actually what happened with me. I had a couple of things come back. Oh, good. Lin-Manuel Miranda. Oh, come on.
Lin-Manuel
Miranda
Miranda.
said that he basically bleeped out all the F-bombs, but they're going to put a content warning, and it's the entire play. Yeah. Disney, I don't know if people know this, but Disney actually has Miramax and one other company, and that's how they that's how they used to deal with it. They own those. Those aren't like companies that they purchased. They spun them off so that they could put out F-bombs. So like Miramax,
Television.
Disney studio, it's just, you don't know.
Buena Vista.
Yeah, Buena Vista. Buena Vista.
Yeah.
Buena Vista, Miramax, and Disney are all the same company. It's just that Buena Vista puts out things that ride the line of PG-13, and Miramax is the stuff they could put out that's R. That way Disney can still do it, but it doesn't hurt Disney's image.
And so for people who are anime fans, I don't remember the anime studios, but Buena Vista Distribution picked up some anime studios back in the late 80s, early 90s that draw hentai.
Yep.
Straight up.
Right. Well, Buena Vista picked up the anime thing because at least they got smart to the fact that anime wasn't it wasn't kids show. It wasn't kids fair. You know, I remember when I got into anime in the 80s and the 90s, the early 90s, especially when we first started NDK, like in 97 and 98. We'd get these parents who would bring in their 5-year-olds because they're like, it's a cartoon convention. And we'd have to be like, ugh, I don't know. You don't want to go in. Don't go into the 18-plus room. Oh, this is going to be bad. And then these moms would come out with their eyes like this big and toting a kid who's crying, and we'd be like, "We tried to tell you."
Some of the first anime and comic book conventions that I actually attended, there was, how should I put this in layman's terms? Porn stars.
Yeah.
Were there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like...
Fred's correcting me to say that they bought Buena Vista. I think you're probably right, but they spun off Miramax.
Yeah. But also at the same time, like, Buena Vista is the one that got the deal with, originally got the deal for dubbing Hayao Miyazaki Ghibli films.
Yep.
And when
Buena Vista started bringing over the Ghibli flicks, yeah.
And then when that fell through and they changed distribution, they redubbed, or they took certain lines out that Buena Vista did to make it more palate friendly.
Right. Well, and that's another thing that's interesting about that history. The reason that it went from Buena Vista to Disney was actually at the request of Miyazaki. Ghibli is widely considered to be the Disney of Japan.
Yeah.
They're very much the same kind of fare. It's for kids. It's kids shows, stuff like that. And Miyazaki was somewhat offended that they decided to put it through the Buena Vista moniker instead of through the Disney moniker, since that did seem to be more of a fit. So he dumped them. And then later they negotiated it back. And when they did, Miyazaki said, okay, but it's got to go out under Disney's flag.
Yeah.
Not under Buena Vista anymore, because you were spinning it off over here and saying that we were lesser than Disney, and he really wasn't putting up with that, and I don't blame him.
No, and I don't either. I believe
I would certainly watch most Ghibli flicks over Pocahontas.
Yeah, I believe now the distribution is with a third company that is not Disney affiliated.
For Ghibli?
Ghibli is no longer under Disney's banner.
Used to be. Okay.
Used to be, now is not.
Miyazaki's not in charge anymore.
No, he's not. But at the same
I could see that as no longer being an issue. Yeah, because
yeah.
This was Miyazaki's big fight and his big push. I think that was a good move on his part, and I'm sad that went south.
Well, no, it also it kind of goes into why everyone's like, why does everywhere else in the world have Ghibli films on streaming services except for America? Now you are understanding why.
Yeah, because it's no longer under Disney's flag here.
No, it's not just because it's just the treatment that they received for the films.
Which is, as an old school animator and as a fan of all things animated, I mean, heck, I even really like to watch Moana, and it's not even in my genre because I don't 3D animate really anymore. But as somebody who really is into this it always hurts the treatment that anime got when it is so powerful to our culture.
Yeah.
By the early 2000s, the anime culture was starting to actually die in Japan, and it was because of us that they're back alive again.
Yeah.
I mean, because America started putting out the anime as part of American culture, and once it did, the resurgence across the world occurred. And now you have anime fans in everywhere. You've got anime fans in Russia. You've got anime fans in Africa. And it's because we took and broadcasted like a repost.
Yeah.
It's like getting your artwork picked up by, Stan Lee's account.
Yeah.
Broadcast. It was just a thing.
Well, and the funny thing is in the 90s, I was talking to a friend of mine back then that we no longer, we fell out of touch because, it was before social media. Basically, she would go back and forth to France because her mother was from France. And so she would watch shows here in the United States, like Sailor Moon, Yu Yu Hakusho, yep, like in during that time in the 90s. And then she would go over to France in the summer for like a month, and she would watch the same shows but in French after they were translated. And she's like, well, the voice tones sound different, but like the one thing is they were a little bit behind. So like she would watch like a portion of the season here in the United States, and then she'd go over there and watch pretty much the same portion of the United States, what they just aired. But what I'm finding now is Disney Channel is now sending things over to other European countries first to watch, and then America gets it second.
Yeah.
And that's like the reason. I don't know exactly the reason, but like some of their shows have actually started, like the leak problems with some of their shows are happening because they like aired it in some country and someone reposted it and basically put almost a full entire episode online already.
Yep.
So there's that. And also, I mean, anime has influenced animation in a very big way across the world.
No, yeah, it's kind of funny because my style is, I mean, I come from a very straight up manga style. I mean, that's my style. And it's because I started drawing based on the anime that I was watching in 1989 and 1990 and 1991, when this was all just beginning here.
Yeah.
We were starting to get things to come over, and I had been watching, Voltron and Battle of the Planets and things like that when I was a kid, and Speed Racer and all of those things, and had no idea that it was Go Lion and Ninja Team Gatchaman and Maha Go Go Go. I had no idea that was what they really were in Japanese until I started actually getting deep into it. And then I joined the Dai Group, which is a group of local anime fans here. And that's how we got to NDK. And ultimately, is all of us were like, hey, they could do Akon, we could do NDK, that would work. So,
I mean,
it's a thing. It's like, I've watched anime change. This one was a big watershed for us because Sailor Moon was the one that really changed a lot of the landscape. But we had a backlash against them for changing all of the content.
well, okay, I want to say this right now. I had worked with someone as a teenager. They were younger than me. And they loved Sailor Moon. They loved Sailor Moon so much. But when Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune came into the picture, she was like, oh, they're cousins in such a loving cousin relationship. And I just like looked at her and I was like, they're lesbians. And she's like, what? And I was like, in the US version, they're cousins. In the original version, they are a couple.
They're lovers.
They actually love one another.
Yeah.
And I was like, read the manga because it's a little bit more like in your face about it. But even in the manga, like when it was first translated, they took out the part of gender fluidity of Uranus out originally.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they re-released it, like later on, they put it back in. So, because of backlash of fans.
Yeah. See, Donald, I'm with you on Macross. I'm a big Macross nut. I mean, I even have, I can't turn my camera around, but I have a Macross wall scroll right over there from Macross 7. But yeah, I mean,
they're still putting out new versions of Macross too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The new Macross Delta. And Macross Frontier was going when I was there. And I actually got up in the morning, ate my cereal, and watched Macross Frontier. In Japan, they put the time up in the upper right-hand corner in the morning, so you know what time it is. It's actually really cute. I mean, some of the things that they do in Japan, I'm like, why don't we do that here? I mean, some of them make total sense. They've got little sinks on the toilet bowls so that the return water just comes up and then pours into a little sink on the top. So when you flush, it just starts pouring the return water so you can wash your hands with it. And I'm like, that's a brilliant idea.
I want a Japanese toilet anyway.
Right? It's got a double flush, too. It's got the light flush and the heavy flush.
It also has the built-in bidet, and
yeah,
so you don't need to have problems trying to find toilet paper.
Right. The toilet paper roll that I have, I actually bought them because I like these so much. They've got two little spring-loaded levers. So you just when you run out of a roll, you take the next roll and just go boom, tink, and it pops the old roll out the top. You grab it and throw it away. None of this trying to figure out how to reach in there and grab that little spring-loaded. I'm like, even then, it's like somebody spent some quality time deciding how toilets should work. And they came up with some brilliant ideas. And I think that that's another one of those, I hate puritanical societies where we can't talk about poop and we can't talk about pee, we can't talk about bathrooms. Because what ends up happening is you end up with, we are so behind on bathroom technology.
It's so weird because we're talking about this and I was like, I remember full-on conversations with where my great aunt, who was in her 90s, she would sit there and go, nothing feels better than taking a nice dump.
Yep.
And I'm just I looked at her and I was like, A, it's gross because she's 90 something years old and I didn't want to hear that at the dinner table.
I have to say, we don't talk about that at the dinner table.
Dinner table conversation in my household was that my sister's having burping and farting contests.
Right.
I participated in some of those.
Sure. As kids, that's a thing.
Yeah.
But as adults, we don't do that. But still.
What are you talking about? My oldest sister was involved in that, and she was
this was last week.
No, my family still does it. They're just not as, they don't make it as a game like we were kids. But
no.
It's still
and Donald says he's got 6 VHS tapes that were recalled sitting on his shelf. If you slow it down, you can see all kinds of cool things. So that was the first time that I went and got an animation degree because I realized that I can see at 30 frames a second. So I would sit there and watch it and I go, oh, did you see the beer can there? And they'd be like, what? And we'd go back and pause it, and one of the missiles from the ships said Budweiser on the side of it, But since the ship was firing missiles, and you don't see it. It all moves way too fast.
Well, it's kind of like when
Macross has a lot of interesting stuff. That's actually what I was talking about there. It's in Macross the movie. At one point in time, the VF-1s are moving in on the bad guys. They fire all their missiles, and the missiles drop from the wings, and they go like that. And then it cuts to another scene where you're looking at the bad guy, and the missiles go past the camera like this. Mm-hmm. And one of them, if you stop it right here, you can see it says Budweiser. And another one says sake. It's got a sake can, too. So obviously they had nothing better to do. They got tired of drawing little white missiles that just keep moving in. These little canister missiles that are with a little red tip. And they were after the 5,000th frame of a little circle and a little another circle and white. They were Budweiser.
So I mentioned this before when someone posted it. My mom had the old VHS tape for The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
So it was recalled because they realized what was in the castle. But what they didn't do is when they remastered it, they finally took care of it. The same person who did the front cover also did the backgrounds of the movie.
Yeah.
Now, if anyone knows the story, the history of this, yes, the person knew that they were going to lose their job. So, what did they do? They put a giant phallic symbol in the middle of the castle.
Yep.
However, it's in the original VHS. If you pause it, the castle on the front cover of the original VHS is the same castle in the movie.
Yep.
And the thing is you change the front cover, that's great, but it took them a while before they changed the movie. Because they thought people wouldn't notice. But, but people started noticing. So, was that me?
No, it was me. I just realized that I put down my Post-it note, and it went, and I went. I felt like the librarian in Raiders or in Indiana Jones. Book boom. It's the same thing. That's in the third one. See you later, Luna. It was good to have you here. I hope you finished that leg. We're just saying, because that was the point of this, was to make sure you finished that leg.
Yeah, it was just the leg. We weren't actually going to ask anyone else for their progress. Just you.
Yeah, just you. Well, I don't know. I still was trying to figure out where we were.
Well,
nobody actually.
I only have 1.5 pages.
Let's go ahead. Let's try this again here. So, Donald, did you make a lot of money, get something cool and done, and maybe win the lotto? I'm wondering whether you got that. Because, like I said, we were all about you winning the lotto.
Oh, yeah.
That's
my dollar tier on Patreon needs you.
Right? That dollar. Also, Brent wanted to sleep. David, I don't even know if David's here. I don't think David's here, but he wanted to finish the background of his card. While we're waiting for all of these people to... Donald says, I can't draw, but he is an idea man. Well, okay, but that's not the goal you set for yourself last week. I'm just asking here. Okay, so for you, Pepper, where are you on your 2 pages, maybe 3 spot? Where are we there?
I am halfway done.
Okay, good. You do sing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Cool.
I do karaoke, but that's about it. And when I do karaoke, I do it badly, but I enjoy every minute of it, so there's nothing wrong with that.
No one wants to hear me sing.
Right? Okay, so I was supposed to finish my character designs and write Rabbit Hunt. This last week's been kind of rough. I've had computer troubles all week, which is why the computer's going to go back in the shop. So we're going to have to postpone all of those to next week. I did sit around and work on Rabbit Hunt a little bit, but then Steam had a sale, and that became a problem in a big hurry because then I bought City Skylines, and now I have spent way too many hours on City Skylines building a happy little city, but it's a beautiful city, and I'm very proud of it.
You and my husband.
Right? Right? But
yeah, my husband saw the sale.
Stupid Steam having a sale? Idiots.
Yeah, Bill. Stupid Steam.
I actually...
He's like, I haven't bought anything yet.
Yet? Yeah, I actually am kind of waiting. I'm worried that some of the big stuff is going, like Elite Dangerous went on sale. And I know I need to stay away from that game because that's probably going to kill me. I'm a big Mamog player, but I'm also a big Sim player. Those are the 2 places that I'm in. And Sword Art Online went on sale, and that's a Mamog. And I'm like, because it's now on sale for like $5 or $10 or something ridiculously little. And so I'm considering Sword Art Online. I'm considering all kinds of stuff, but
just remember you're considering.
That's all that we've got so far. But I did pull the trigger on City Skylines, and now I am 30 years into my city, and it's a thriving metropolis, and I named all the streets after Star Trek characters.
Fair point.
Yeah, so we've got James T. Kirk Way, and we've got Scotty Way going the other direction, because they originally were two-lane streets, but then it got so big that I had to make 6-lane one-way highways out of them.
Well, I mean, I can say without a doubt that if I did one of those things, I would name all the streets like I was still living in Jupiter, Florida. They have a Uranus Drive.
I actually have that now too.
And
Because
they
I
have
live in Star City, they allow you to make all the way up to rockets and launch rockets, I discovered. So I have a rocket base with a rocket launch. And so the city, the little subsection of the city around it now it's called Star City. And so I named all of them Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And then on the other side of town is all the little Makemake and Sedna and Ceres. And
nice.
so I've been naming all of them after dwarf planets, and it's so much fun. Anyway,
I mean,
Donald's hoping for a good 4th with no fireworks and no barbecues. I'm pretty sure that the second one's going to happen, but the first one, they've been firing off fireworks every night since March here. And I would have thought they would have run out of fireworks, but they haven't.
my whole thing.
The 4th is just going to be noisy.
My whole thing is if you're going to have fireworks, you're going to have all that stuff, please just be mindful of the people who cannot handle fireworks.
Right.
I'm not just talking about animals. I'm talking about actual human beings.
Yeah.
I get so tired and sick of people telling me that that humans don't have issues with fireworks. And I know too many people with PTSD to know better.
There are a number of my friends are military or former military in one way or another, and some of them were in Desert Storm, some of them were in Desert Shield, some of them were in Kosovo, some of them, you know what I mean? It's like some of them have been into Afghanistan. These are not small, little, like they didn't go serve on a ship for 5 years or for 4 years and then cycle out, and the ship stayed in San Diego Harbor. These guys were in the front line, and I always feel so bad for them whenever we get to this time of year and things are popping and exploding, and it's brutal.
No, it's just like when I was younger, I actually witnessed someone actually take someone's sign down to say, please do not use fireworks within 50 yards of this home because of PTSD. Someone kept removing their sign.
Right.
Like I'm sorry. I want to normalize the fact that people suffer from this, because
I do too.
we need to remember it's not just animals that have problems. There are people that have problems.
And I'm brontophobic, which is a actual term that means that I'm fearful of loud noises. When it was an incident when I was a child, and it makes it so I don't like to be startled, and I don't like loud noises near me. It makes me jump way too far, and I'll actually hurt myself, which is why I don't like suspenseful movies with things that pop out and stuff like that. But so I empathize 100% with people who have PTSD. Donald's saying that he knows veterans with PTSD. They he knows people who would go into jungle mode when they heard firecrackers. So it's real.
Yeah,
and I'm with you. I don't fire firecrackers. Even when I was a kid, I did, but I don't know. It's too high of a fire risk. Too high of, I'd rather go to a fireworks show somewhere else where somebody's got control over it. There's fire trucks around to put out the fires, stuff like that. And then play the 1812 Overture and happiness and blissfulness, and that's what I do. And I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that.
I mean, I really don't go to fireworks shows. I think they're more for children than anything else. Well, no, I mean, okay, first of all, if you
agree with you, I'm a child.
that's great. But, in my terms, I don't really enjoy them.
That's fine.
Now, like, I haven't really enjoyed one since I was like a kid, and the main reason why is they would light them all the way out in the middle of the ocean, and then you would watch them go up, but they weren't loud.
Right.
And so there's
There's like
Man. There we go.
what's up? Was that
That was my wife talking on the phone.
okay?
She just walked by the room.
Okay.
So I didn't know. I was like, is that she talking to me? I couldn't hear. So I could hear it through the microphone. I was like, what? What is that? You know?
Yeah. But like I do still have some certain issues. Like I don't feel as me as an adult. I really enjoy going and watching. Like when I was a kid. Like it doesn't make sense for me to enjoy it
Right.
without a child around me.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that.
At all. I mean, like I said, I know a lot of people who like to set off fireworks. I don't. That's anxiety inducing for me.
Yeah.
Because I sit there and I know it's going to make a loud noise, and I know it's going to make a loud noise, and I focus on that. And then I hyper focus on it, and then I just can't stand it. And so I just don't even mess with it. And the thing is, I'm almost 50. I don't gotta. Nobody's going to peer pressure me anymore. Nobody's going to force me to do this. That's the nice thing. When I was a kid, I would go do it because, it was what the cool guys were doing and yada, 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 and that kind of stuff. Now I'm like, I have other things to do. Let's change the subject real quick because we're running kind of, not out of time, but I wanted to go into something.
We're almost at an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Actually, over an hour and a half now.
Yeah, but I usually broadcast till noon. So I wanted to say I found something at Joann's, which was great. This guy here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have two of those.
But this is the normal one, and this is the pastel one. I had two pastels.
Oh my god!
It's purple,
When did they get
light
the
green,
pastels one?
teal, and pink.
When did they get the pastels one?
They've had them for a long time. I had two of these guys, but then they stopped having them for a long time, like years, to the point where this pastel one, I have been running into the ground my green ones because they were green pastel tipped. And then I went to Joann's yesterday and these were there, so I bought some. So I wanted to tell everybody, Joann's has pastel 4 colors. I live on the 4-color pen. And it's because, and their pastels are sort of a lavender too. They've got a lavender one.
Nice.
And they've got this blue one. They come in 2 packs because I think that lavender one's sort of the pink. So it's go to Joann's.
See, the last pens I bought. I mean, they have multi ones.
I have done this since I was a kid. I live by these Bic 4 colors. This is my pen. I've had these since I was a child. And I live and die by these pens because what I'll do is I'll write one idea in red and then flip to green, then write another idea, then flip to blue, write another idea, then flip to black and write another idea so that I can see all of my ideas in a complete block. And you can always tell when you see my writing because it's all in different colors. They're all different colors going down the page. But I love when I can have 8 colors available to me now because I can have 8 distinct ideas on a page at a time.
You know what actually got me thinking? Because I just realized this the other day, or the last time I was in a store that had pens. They actually had the 10 color pen.
Whenever my pseudo-adopted daughter shows up over here, she brings me multicolored pens from Japan. She just recently bought one with Sailor Moon on it. She just lined it to me. She messaged it to me. She was like, hey, look what I found. And I was like, you guys have much better pens than we do. Make me mad. The other thing I
Sorry,
got,
their dollar store watercolor paint is much better than our dollar store watercolor paint.
right? So this is the other thing I just picked up while I was at it. And that is this wonderful way of sorting all of my Copics. And it allowed me to realize that I actually have more Copics than I thought I did. But it's funny because it doesn't look like they're organized until you actually like spread it out, at which time it is color organized.
Well, I figured out that it was color organized before you did that.
Well, you can see the Brostophonicness of it, but you can't when here it doesn't look like it's organized at all when it's folded together like this, but it is organized by color. And the way called Brostophonic, and that means ordered like an ox goes through a field. It's a yes. So David says that he had a pen like one of these once, but it got taken away from him because he was constantly clicking it. Which I could see. I don't constantly click. I just click between ideas. So nobody can be really irritated with me.
I actually got a recess detention because of pens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I got yelled at from teachers because I wouldn't stay in the same color. That was their biggest problem. I wouldn't write all in black or all in blue because once I got these 4-colored pens, I'd write, I'd just keep writing in different. But finally, my teachers were kind of like, you know what? Of all of the things that you could be getting in trouble for, this is a minor one. So they just let me go with it. So that was kind of nice. I didn't get a lot of concessions in school when I was a kid, but that was one that they finally conceded on. Until I went to open school, at which time open school is all about everybody being individual anyway. So they were like, hey, that's cool. And I'm like, I wish more schools were like this.
Kind of wish the school I went to was like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but Snooki he's saying he could see Snooki from Jersey Shore being done up like Sailor Moon. So he was talking about a buddy of his and being in PTSD hell for, thinking his son was a Viet Cong and booby trapping his yard and
Wow.
So, sometimes PTSD can go way too far, and I totally get that. I appreciate it. I think the first time some guy decides to shoot up his neighbors because he thinks that he's in some war zone and they were just firing off firecrackers, I think that's the first time that'll be a time that they decide that maybe they shouldn't tear down the signs that say veteran with PTSD.
Well, you have to also remember I'm from Florida originally.
Yeah.
Where crazy stuff does happen. I mean, I grew up in a neighborhood where police were called. People decided to shoot live ammunition into the air.
Yeah.
And kids went to the hospital.
Texas too.
Kids went to the hospital. Parents went to the hospital. Some kids died. And this was because they decided to shoot live rounds into the air. And not realizing ammunition, when it gets to a certain height, comes down.
Right.
So, I mean, it's the whole lawn dart.
At 33 feet per second squared.
Mm-hmm. And just remember, it slows on the way up, and then it speeds up on the way back down.
And by the time they hit the ground, they have roughly the same speed as they went up, although not as much because they're...
yeah, there is some...
There is some terminal velocity for those things,
but not so much that you won't be injured or...
Oh, yeah. It can kill you.
Yeah.
So those are the two things that did happen last week, or this week, that were cool in my book. I did an interesting 2-day analysis on action lines, which is what this is all about over here. And adding drama to a picture.
I can show you the progress on what I'm doing for actual like person if it wants to. If that is seeable.
I see a bunch of me's.
Basically, it's a DJ based out of Florida. He just did a mix with another guy. He goes by Demon Six, and so it's an Oni,
Right.
and he had me Onify the other person that he did the mix with.
That's true. I did touch up the Little Dipper card yesterday. Sorry. Donald's trying to bring that up too. Yeah.
Well, you show your progress every day. I don't.
Yeah. There's a lot of different progress every day. So you got to check in and kind of unload for what happened all week last week. So.
Yeah.
That's right. Next week we should be back to Friday normalness.
Yes, we should.
Oh, hey, look. We could become famous. Buy followers, primes, and views on adviewers.com. I'm now getting spammed. I find that entertaining from Twitch. I
Okay.
wonder if Twitch knows that we're broadcasting. I don't know what's going on.
It probably picked up the fact that we were talking about how do we get more followers.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Although I've been spammed before from Twitch, I find spamming entertaining and funny. So I generally will just humiliate the spammers. So that's just kind of where I go. And it's a thing. So
And someone that
do
has
you want to go on ahead and say that next week you're going to do 2 pages, maybe 3, and then put that in there? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to try to finish writing Rabbit Hunt. I'm having sort of a little bit of a problem because I'm the stay-at-home dad, and the kid's being kind of needy, and so I'm trying to get him to leave me alone long enough to write. For me, writing is difficult. It's one of the hardest parts of the whole thing. I can write well. I'm a good writer, but I need 30 minutes to settle in and hear the voices of my characters, and then all the things. 30 minutes to settle in and kind of get, with the flow of the characters, and then anytime anybody comes in and says anything to me, it's 30 minutes again. I have to start all over again. So I put on my headphones and try to block it out, but then my kid's like, Dad, look at this. And then I've got to restart.
Guy, I'm just going to say this right now. If I win the lotto, I'll get an office.
I've actually thought that too. I think a little artist commune. I've thought if any of us ever make it big enough that we can get an office, we should have an artist commune that just has desks.
Not just desks, like individual rooms.
Right.
Fit them yourself.
Where you can have your little office.
Yeah.
But
And-
you can't live in.
We just can't live in them, Bill says.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't want to sit there and turn into Japanese manga artists, which have separate homes from their families.
Yes. Well, there's a reason for that.
Oh, I know. It's what we're talking about right now.
Yep.
Especially when they're on deadlines.
Yes, deadlines. Well, and I consider myself somewhat on deadline. I need to get rolling on Bellatrix Rising soon. And I can't go anywhere without a script. So we've got to do script 1. It's the hardest one. I know what's going to happen in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sort of down the line. But the first one, we've got to make sure we introduce everybody. We've got to make sure we kind of explain the world. All of that. It's very hard.
Instead of a hard world building process, you can always switch to a soft building like Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Should help.
Well, the world's built. I just have to. Oh yeah, and a big buffet. Donald's saying our commune should have a big buffet.
That's a plus. I mean, I can cook.
Yep.
Now I know he's doing part of it.
So there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the battle plan here. I'm going to go ahead and really push in on the Rabbit Hunt. The The problem I think that my wife sort of identified a little bit is that I have kind of already I built a huge world. Now I've got to figure out how much of that world needs to be in the first episode.
Okay. Think token.
Yeah, because that's what the problem is. It's not the world's built. We're good. We know everything. Heck, last week we were on the show. We talked about X-ray pumped neutrino beams. We even know now like the science of the lasers that the ships fire, and the gravity wells and things like that. We now know all kinds of stuff. So,
Guy, I'm just saying this right now. Once you start inventing languages, you have to start writing the first script.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like now it's time to get moving, time to cut this in. So, for the next few weeks, the goal is to get script 1 done, so that it is out the door, and we can start writing that comic because that comic needs to go in there. First part has to have enough mystery and fantasy to draw people in. Absolutely, we've got to get people sucked in, but we can't just blast them with here's the world. It can't be like that. I mean,
it's how do you want to lose your audience in one fell swoop?
Right, exactly. So I've got to come up with. We're not going to tell everything. We know a lot about this world. We don't need to say everything.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So that's my big goal for next week is I'm going to finish Rabbit Hunt. And, yep, like a first impression at a job interview is what Donald's saying over here, and he's right.
Well, he's right. I mean, that's what you want.
Yeah, you do. So anyway, I'm hoping that everybody. Wow, we've got a lot of posts here. I'm hoping that's good. You're just going to keep going down the road on the pages.
I'm in production, so that's pretty much what I'm going to focus on right now.
Sounds fair.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff I could do to make my life more interesting, but I need to simplify.
Yeah.
What do we do?
So, coolio. Well, then I think that we've pretty much wrapped up everything. We're going to end probably a little early today.
Yeah, it's so that you can get your computer in the shop.
Yeah.
Yay, so you don't have to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, if I can get the computer in today, we'll be good.
Yeah.
So, that'll work for me. Cool. Well, I appreciate you joining me today, Pepper, and thanks for doing this on short notice. I really do appreciate it.
It was actually kind of funny because I have a meeting that came up that would have prevented me from doing it Friday. So it was kind of like, oh, okay, sure, let's do this now. Yeah.
It worked perfectly. So, well, there you go. And thank you all for joining us out there on my feed. Yeah, I'll see you all Monday. Again, I'm not going to be broadcasting tomorrow because I'm going to put the computer in the shop, and then we're going to head to the mountains to be mountainy. So, and go do a family trip. We've been meaning to do a family trip this entire time and haven't done that. Donald says he enjoys watching you as well, Pepper. So
Cool.
So cool. Well, guys, I will see you all next week. Thank you for joining me, and have a good weekend.
Bye. Oh, this mouse. I have 2 mouses.